Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Thursday, February 23rd, 2022. The first thing I looked at was really very specific for the Netherlands and it had to do with the voting. Apparently it could be a felony or even punishable to vote. There are a lot of messages going around here in the Netherlands that the Netherlands fall under the SHAVE law. And SHAVE is actually from, the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force. That was the headquarters, the headquarters of the Allied forces in Northwest Europe from 1943 till the end of the Second World War. And there is apparently a law, and I have another article. Unfortunately, it's all in Dutch, explaining the layers in the Netherlands. And it could give an example of the layers most likely in other countries as well, but this is specifically for the Netherlands. The first layer, and this is from an article from Vincent Schoers, and it is in Dutch, but I will share it on Telegram. That the first layer is really the Netherlands, of course, as the, the Netherlands itself, so the ground specifically, the specific area. The second layer is the Bataafse Republiek, which is a long time ago established. And it is the only republic that is truthfully chosen by the people of the Netherlands. And it's kind of been asleep for about 2 centuries. Then there is a third layer that is being established by the British Prussians. I'm not sure how to pronounce. Prussians, I think. The Prussian. There's, of course, they were part of the German, area there. You have the Prussian, and they actually took over and established a kingdom from the Netherlands. And that was established in 1813, the Treaty of Vienna. And this kingdom remained till May 13th, 2040, when our queen, Wilhelmina, at that time left the Netherlands. And because of that, there's an article in our constitution. If the queen and the ministers leave, then everything falls apart. So the Germans actually took over, and by, capitulating to the Allied forces, the Netherlands became, part of the SHAVE. So we are actually still controlled by the SHAVE. And the fifth layer is what we have now, and that is a corporation. And I think a lot of countries are corporations, most of them. And this has to do with the House of Orange, our royal family, and all kinds of multinationals. And it's really a corporation. And we are also, through this corporation, we've given away some of our sovereignty to the European Union. And of course, this all is based on nothing, really. So ultimately, we still fall under the SHAVE law here in the Netherlands. So I checked out this SHAVE law. I found something that apparently is the law at that time. And it has something to do with that if you commit a certain... you would vote for, of course, the government, then essentially because the government is not rightfully the government, you are, and it is, because it isn't, it's not part of the Allied forces, it's not part of SHAVE, so if you are voting, you are actually aiding the enemy, so to speak. And it's punishable by death, to be very honest. And the military justice system can actually also give people other, punishments. But that will be up to the military to decide. I thought that was very interesting, and I started reading more about this law because people don't know this. There are a lot of people in the Netherlands that don't have a clue. And apparently in an article I found, which is on page, I found that on a page, it's article 4, and it's number 7, and it actually says that they can only be, use this and punish people They can only be able to punish people if it is explicitly told to people, so that the people in the Netherlands are aware that if they are going to vote, that this will be grounds to, try them. And that is not known. Let's just face it. Most of my family hasn't got a clue. So this is not explicitly known, which means that they won't be able to pursue this to begin with. And I also mentioned in my Dutch video, just look at the logistic side of this. I actually found that in 2021, we also had voting going on. There were at least 13.2 million people eligible to go vote. Most of the time, there's about 75% here in the Netherlands who would show up. So about 10 million, and I actually lowered it. So maybe we're talking about 7 million. A lot of people are not voting anymore. So let's just say 7 million. That's a very low number. What are you going to do with those people? So for instance, if SHAVE would, if everything that we were waiting for is going to happen, they're taking away the puppets, the military will step up and will start explaining everything, what's been going on. And then, of course, to me, they will probably, start a new voting, and a voting that will be, fair and not manipulated, so that people can really say what they want and really vote on what they truly want. I don't think that they're going to go door to door to see if you still have your paper that will prove that you didn't vote before. It's insane. The logistics of that. 7 million people. Where do you want to put those 7 million people? And of course, children, they're not eligible to vote, which means if 7 million people, they have children. What are you going to do with those children if you take away their parents, their grandparents, their uncles, and you just name it, or logistically, the pets that are left? It's impossible to do, and I truly don't believe when everything, we are in a very hectic period. People are, we're losing people, loved ones, with the damage from the stings. We can see everything falling apart. If you want to step up as the military, you want to make sure there is order. So taking away, in the Netherlands alone, 7 million people because they voted, and which they didn't even know that was apparently punishable. So they voted, and then you're going to take them away, which will just disrupt the system even more. It will be just logistically inhuman. It would be, like I said, you'd have a lot of children left with no parents and no family to take care of them. You'd have pets, you have entire companies who are completely gone. A lot of people here are still voting, which means entire families will just be moved away. It's just, to be very honest, there's not much they're going to do with that. I truly don't think that if you do want to vote, that you have to be afraid something's going to happen. If you feel like voting, vote. If you do not feel like voting, don't vote. Make a choice, but don't worry about this, because really by their own law, they are not allowed to actually punish it or even start going door to door to figure this out. And when they're really going to step up and everything is falling apart, they want to build up. They're not going to do this. This has nothing to add to anything. It's just going to create more chaos, more pain, more suffering. You really have to wonder which side they are on if they are actually going to do this. So I just wanted to mention this. The second thing, and it's also very Dutch oriented, is that they want to bring back calling people, especially when they're 18, I think 17, 18, to join the military for a year. We've had that, but they stopped doing that. And I was actually reading about that, but apparently it's still there. So they can still, ask between 17 and 45, men and women, to join. But they're just not calling them. They're not calling out for them. So there is still a duty to participate for, I believe, a year. But they're just not, asking people to show up or do anything with that. But we have now a minister, of course, from Foreign Affairs, if I'm not mistaken, Hoekstra, who apparently just wanted to have a talking point, you know, show how tough he is. And of course he wants people to vote for his party, and let's just say no one should vote for that. But so he was actually talking about bringing that back. So the youth would have to participate in military activity for like a year or maybe do something else, but they would be, you know, forced to do that. So I just wanted to take a look at that, and I thought it was very interesting. The card I got was the Queen of Swords. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Ace of Cups in the past. We have the Seven of Wands underneath the Ace of Wands. So we have the Fool and the Ace of Swords for the future. It's just amazing. We've got 3 aces, and that's just like a new beginning. But to me, they're talking about this really is about what is true and what isn't true. This feels to me like he's just saying things. He's just trying to convince, especially the older generation, yeah, we should have the youth, you know, working and doing military things. That's good for them. And a lot of people in the older generation are like, yeah, we should do that. That's just trying to get people to vote for his party. That's it. And especially with the aces, that kind of confirms it for me that that's a yes. That's what it is. Nothing more. I just felt it was very interesting. I believe, especially with these 3 aces, that things in the military will change. And that the military is there to defend humanity. And that when everything is settled and everything is done, especially with the puppets, the removal and the hectic period we are still facing, we don't know when this is going to happen. It has to do with events, not with dates. But things are going to be very different. There will be a very different energy. It will be a new beginning in the military, energetically. They will be there to protect people, protect humanity, and of course where they are situated. So in this case, in the Netherlands, they will protect the Dutch people. I think especially when I was talking about before that the Republic here in the Netherlands will return. We will be sovereign states. And sovereign people, where we decide for ourselves what we want for policies, what we want done politician-wise. We're not going to vote for politicians anymore or parties, but really truly about policies. And the military will change. There will be like a completely new beginning, and especially with all these aces, the energy will be differently about the military. They are not to be used by dark forces anymore. They're really to support the people, to make sure there's order, to protect people. More truth will come out. I think there will be a different wave of military. There will be more communication, what's really going on, more connection. So I do believe that also a change is happening in the military. And of course, we're still faced with some dark energies there. But I have a feeling that everything is going as planned, and I fully trust the plan and the situation. So this is what I got for this minister here in the Netherlands. You're just throwing out a few one-liners, hoping that people will vote for him, but it's not going to go anywhere. I don't believe it will. So this is what I wanted to say about this, and hope to see you in another video. Bye.